Well, today is the 15th of November 2023, and I guess when this news goes out it'll be tomorrow, so it'll be the 16th of November, it'll be the Thursday, and quite a big day in Spain because the Prime Minister, or the caretaker Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, will be taking office. We had an election back in July and it was a little bit inconclusive. The actual winner of the election tried to form a government, but they didn't have a majority. And Pedro Sanchez then tried to get all the other parties, so a little bit of a coalition together. And he's done some things which haven't been very well received, particularly here in Palma, but also in the rest of the country too. And that's to do a deal with the Basques and the Catalans. It's to give an amnesty to political prisoners. Is that a right word? Yeah, well, maybe. So Puigdemont, who was the ringleader in the Catalan area, who'd been exiled, looks as though he's been now pardoned. And in that pardoning, it means that he gets this. Pedro Sanchez will get the votes of the Catalans and therefore will be able to form a government. He will be installed Thursday, and he will be the Prime Minister. He was the Prime Minister before, and it means he's going to continue. How successful it's going to be, it's a coalition. It's not a coalition of just two parties. There are multiple parties involved, and it makes government, I think, very difficult. But it remains to see what's going on. He's got a country which is somewhat divided politically. Here in Palma, the local councils are predominantly PP, which is like the Conservative Party, and Pedro Sanchez is Socialist, so like the Labour Party. So it remains to be seen what's going on there. A few weeks ago, I put a dance video up in Inca. We went to the fair in Inca. I didn't manage to get the rest of the video out. I was having terrible problems with the sound then. But Inca's in the middle of the biggest fair on the island. And it culminates really with Thursday, tomorrow, with Dijubo. And it's the biggest fair on the island. And we're hoping to go by train tomorrow morning and have a look. But there's been all sorts of things every weekend. There's been lots of things going on, and would like to have seen more of them. We just couldn't get up there for them. One of the things that they did have, which became a little bit amusing, was a rally, a car rally up in the mountains, but they did it at night, and they did manage to get a first one or two stages done, and then a donkey invaded the pitch, well, the road, and had to cancel it. So the last of the stages had to be cancelled because of the invasion of a donkey. More politics. The local council, the one in Palma here, which is where we live, are making all sorts of promises, and they say they're going to be spending money on this and that and the other. They've already got their budgets sorted out. Amongst those is the Hesse building, which I reported on a few weeks ago. They reckon that's worth 25 million euros, and it's owned by the electricity gas company. They're going to purchase that. Whether they actually give them 25 million euros is questionable at the moment. They might do a deal and exchange it for some land or for some other things. The old fire station, they want to get that back and turn it into something else. It's owned, at the moment that's owned by a Dutch investment company, but that's another 15 million euros, lots of money. As far as citizen security is concerned, the police and that's such like, they're going to be employing 50 new personnel. That sounds really good, until the next line when you read it, it says that 57 could actually retire. Okay. Social services has quite a big budget for that, and that includes things like the big fiestas of the Three Kings, the San Sebastian, and the summer festivals. A lot of those things have had a little bit of a cutback, but there'll still be lots of money spent on them, and they should be really impressive. So the Three Kings, that's coming up 5th of January, and San Sebastian comes up a little bit later on in January. And what else? Oh, elderly. That's me now. Well, the elderly are going to get €756,000 to promote active ageing. That probably means I'm going to have to go out for more walks. And they're planning more green areas, so there's an area called Son Quint, it's the Son Quint estate, and they're going to make that into a green area, which is always good. I like to see those. But one of the interesting things there they said for us is Casal de Genova, and I didn't really know anything about this, but it looks like an interesting place for the elderly in Genova, which is our local where we are, so that sounds quite exciting. The Son Moix, which is where we go to the football ground, that is going to be extended, and more things are going to be put on there. I think because we've eliminated the running track at the football stadium, there's a plan to put a new running track to the side of it, so it means the acquisition of another piece of land and then some more building work. The old football stadium, which I have done a video of, it was the Louis Sitjar. Louis Sitjar is now derelict, and you have to squint a lot to actually see where the football stadium was or see the football pitch, but you can just about. And they did have a go at repainting the signs, and so that's still there. But part of the idea there is to put a sports pavilion, and it's something that they do really, really well here in Mallorca, is promoting sports for, well, the young and the old. €90,000 is going to be spent on gastronomic fairs. They do have quite a lot of these fairs throughout the year where they'll have different food promotions, whether it's tapas walking around Palma or bringing in fish and fresh fish food from Galicia. Lots of things going on around there. It's good to hear that there's been record amounts of electricity being used by being created by photovoltaic energy, so these big solar panels that you see around, well, we're getting more and more of them. You think that Spain and Mallorca really should have all of its electricity from solar panels. We get something like 300 sunny days a year, and today's another one of them. It's bright and sunny out here. And so 39% of the electricity on one particular day was from these photovoltaic cells, these solar panels. And put that together with other renewable energies, the wind energy which comes from the mainland. We don't generate a lot of wind energy on the island here. So up to about 60% of our energy consumption is coming from renewable, which is always good. Rumours around about Taylor Swift, a singer. I'm sure Anita knows about her, but anyway, she might be looking for a house somewhere here in the Baleares or even in Majorca, so she's had a quick trip round and having a look. Maybe she's after a house. We've got lots and lots of celebrities who own properties on the island, and it's really good for the island. It raises the image, I think. I've been asked many times about the people who work in the hotels, in the bars, in the restaurants, work on the beaches. All of these people, what happens to them in the winter? How do they survive? Well, the reports for October were that we had record employment. We had the highest number of people actually employed in Mallorca, so that was really great news. And put it the other way, we had the lowest unemployment. But yeah, come November, a lot of those people will have to sign on the dole, and some of them will take other jobs. Quite a few actually just leave the island, and they're not from Mallorca, and they'll go back either to the mainland or to somewhere else in Europe, and then hopefully come back next year to work. So we'll see what the November figures are, but at the moment it's pretty good for Mallorca. Mallorca's been pretty well looked after, and most people are working. Something a lot of people who own properties here will be really interested in is the 90-day rule. The 90-day rule means that people from the UK, and it's just the new thing for the people from the UK, it's a Brexit thing, and it means that you can only spend 90 days out of any rolling 180-day period in Europe. And it's been a real problem for people who own properties here in Mallorca. They wanted to come and use them for more than 90 days. They can't. They have to leave after that 90 days. Otherwise, they find they've been breaking the law and there are consequences, fines, or even permission to enter the country denied. That will become even more strict once we have the electronic entry and exit system, but that's not coming until sometime next year, probably or possibly. And the ETIAS, which is probably now going to be the year after. But the 90-day rule has been in the news because France has recognised this as an issue. There's a lot of Brits with property in France, and because they've got properties in France and they can't stay more than 90 days, the French are actually going to bring in, or they propose to bring in, and it's already started its way through their government, a sort of a visa for people who own properties. It's not people who rent properties, not people who want to come here and retire, and or in France to retire and rent a property. It's people who own properties. And the hope is, and there's been some talks in London at the World Travel Market that was going on last week, that something similar could happen for people who own properties here in Majorca. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's a visa. It's an actual visa, but in France they're going to make it a lot easier to obtain than a normal non-lucrative visa or a working visa or a nomad visa. The French are saying they want something that's really quite straightforward. I'll keep my eyes out and see what's going on, see what's happening, and I'll let you know. On the football front, well, we've got no football. Mallorca were supposed to have been playing last weekend against Cadiz, but because of our star player Mallorca was playing for Kosovo against Israel, the match was actually postponed until later on in the year. Sadly, Mallorca, who was playing in the Kosovo Israel match, had an injury, and it seems to be quite a serious injury that could keep him out for another 4 to 6 weeks. So even when he comes back, he won't be playing for Mallorca for a few matches. We've got the international break this weekend, and so it's actually about 3 weeks that Mallorca will have a break from football, and that means we've got a break from football as well. But just before Christmas there's going to be quite a few matches in there, because we've got not only the La Liga matches and the Cadiz match that's got to be played, and there's also another cup match which is going to be played. And so lots of football to come up, but nothing for the next 2 weeks, I'm afraid. On the weather front, you can't believe how warm it is. It's well, today I just look up at my thermometer. Sitting here on our terrace, it's 23 degrees. I'm in the shade, it's really pleasant. Yesterday I was down in Palma Nova and it was getting very warm down there. And it seems to be like this for the rest of the week. In fact, in Puerto Poyensa, they recorded over 27 degrees yesterday, and something similar in the northeast of the island in Arta, something like 26, 27 degrees. And we do get this from time to time, and Anita keeps a close eye on these things and writes them down in a diary, and she said last year it was 24 degrees, so similar sorts of temperatures. But what's different this year is that it's spread over several days, so anybody who's here on holiday now for a week is having glorious weather. We saw people on the beach yesterday, we saw people swimming in the sea yesterday, so really fantastic weather. So I hope you like this little news bulletin, things that are catching my eye in the news. I'll keep my eye out for anything else that's interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So bye for now.